Welcome to Swag, some wisdom and gear from college admission leaders. Today we are joined by Matt Malatesta, VP for Admission, Financial Aid, and Enrollment at Union College. Matt, I want to start by giving you an opportunity to share your elevator pitch and kind of an overview for students and why they might want to consider Union College.
Sounds great. All right. Well, I'll be brief there. Great place. It's been a part of my life for a long time. Love Union. Union College is a liberal arts college of 2,100 students in Schenectady, New York. Probably most known for kind of the broad range of offerings we have, both in the STEM and non-STEM worlds. We're one of the very few and the first liberal arts college to have an engineering program. So we have an ABET accredited engineering program to go in line with our great social science, humanities, arts, and science courses. I guess 4 things about Union I think people should know is, a lot of colleges talk about community. For me, it's the importance of the intentionality of that community. How are you achieving that? We've got a thing called the Minerva House system, which is a great way for students to have a launch pad to their college experience. And our academic schedule has students sit down with their advisor 50% more of the time at Union than they would at most colleges and universities. So we really try to be thoughtful about that. And fundamentally, it's about the integration and intersection of disciplines. We're almost 50-50 in terms of our students being in the STEM and non-STEM world. And we really pride ourselves in students being in both worlds. Fundamentally, I guess that's the third thing. Fundamentally, we're so much of a both and kind of place. During a college search time when it seems so binary, like that it's all either or, and Union really prides itself on the fact that you can do both, that you can dance and study science, that you can study French and business at the same time. It's about that. And then finally, it's about the high degrees of participation we see from our students. We call it the immersive opportunities that we promise all our students in terms of research or studying abroad or internships or club and organizational participation. So a lot of great things about Union. Definitely worth a look. But happy to be here with you this morning to help people learn more about Union, but also more about the college process.
Thanks. Yeah, sounds like have your cake and eat it too, and maybe even bake it yourself.
There you go. Nice. We're going to put that in our next brochure.
Great. All right, let's do the lightning round of questions, and we'll start with what is one unique program offered at your school?
I mean, I think the one I already kind of mentioned it a bit, but the thing that's most unique is, well, I'll do one inside the classroom, one outside the classroom. It's the fact that you can come out of Union as a nationally accredited engineer in a variety of different engineering programs, yet we don't have a separate school of engineering. So our engineers are right in there with all of our students. And we think it's the mix of different kinds of students knowing each other and being friends with each other and sharing classes together that makes us who we are. And so that's probably the most unique aspect. One of our most popular programs is called ESPE, which is Environmental Science, Policy, and Engineering, which is looking at environmental issues from a variety of different perspectives. So that's the inside the classroom stuff. The Minerva system, which I just talked about very briefly, it's basically, we're a small college, but small colleges can be large places for a lot of people. We bring students from all over the country and all over the world. And what we find is that kind of wherever a student's going to go to college, they're going to make friends in the classes that they take, in the activities that they join, in the residence halls where they live. But those are in some ways concentric circles of people that they know and are like them or like them. And the idea behind our Minerva House system is every new member of our community gets assigned to one of these 7 Minerva houses. And during their experience, they meet people from across the college, all 4 years of the college, maybe a professor they'll never take in class, classmates that they might never see in class or in their activities. And the idea is to try to get different students exposed to different kinds of students, because it helps a lot of students kind of find so many students coming out of high school, need to find their new way. As a 5'7" bad jump shooting basketball player. I was not going to make my way in college as a varsity athlete at that level. And so you got to find your way to new things and new interests. And the Minervas is one idea to try to expose you to a lot of different things, so you're not alone or afraid in terms of trying stuff.
That's great. As students find their way, what's one fun tradition they find their way into?
Well, so I mean, the fun tradition on campus is we're in New York. We're on the Massachusetts border, but we're not right next to the ocean. But Lobster Fest is probably the most fun day of the year for students. So that's always a great joy. And my favorite tradition is the most iconic building on campus is a thing called the Knott Memorial. It's not behind me right now. This is our new Science and Engineering Center, but the Knott Memorial, if anyone gets on our mailing list, we'll bombard you with pictures of the knot that sits in the middle of campus. But there are four entrances to the college, to the knot: north, south, east, and west. The only time you ever use the western door of the college is upon graduation. And what happens is the students graduate out on Library Plaza. They walk in through the eastern door. Union was the first planned campus in the country, so it's a very historic campus. And it was open to the west with the idea of that's where the future is. That's where westward expansion. That's where the frontier was. And so we have our students come after they graduate. They walk in through the eastern door, but then they exit out the western door as graduates, and it's all lined up with faculty, family, and everyone cheering them on as they do it. And it's awesome. And like the class of 20, which lost the opportunity to walk outside the west door because of COVID, got to do that this past weekend. And I'm getting old. It makes me weepy. It's just awesome.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Is that your favorite spot on campus, or if not, what is your favorite spot?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. It probably, I mean, like there's, hashtag not shot, like, check it out on Instagram. It's like an obligatory thing to do is you're supposed to take pictures of the knot, your friends there. And, I've been working at Union for about 13 years, but I went to Union about 150 years ago. And it is such great memories in all seasons. So I got to say, like when the sun's setting behind the knot, on a beautiful night, it's hard to beat that. So I do have to say that's probably my favorite.
That's great. Okay, we're gonna kind of zoom out a bit. What do you see as the greatest myth in college admission?
I'm going to share what I think the myth is, but no one's going to listen to me. Like it's a crazy world. It's like the tail of selectivity is wagging the dog of choice, and we benefit from it as much as anybody else. We're a highly selective college. But there is this thought that the more students a college can reject, it must be a really great place, and for me, it's so much about finding a place where you're going to thrive, I mean, like that. And like this, and it's just not as binary as people think. Like what colleges and universities have the atmosphere, the philosophy, the vibe of that you're gonna like. I think students don't often enough ask themselves what's made them happy and successful to this point in their lives, and then look for things in colleges that are going to make them happy and successful. I'm a believer you can't be successful unless you're happy, and I worry that the selectivity piece of all this process beats the happiness out of students, and they never realize their full potential. And they'll be fine. They'll go off to college and they'll be fine. But I don't know. Joy should be a part of the college process. Don't shy from that. Find yourself to a place. At any college, there's going to be a mix of different kinds of students, from way too tightly wound type A types to, people who probably should take it more seriously. Okay, well, where do you think you're going to thrive? Like, do you want to be surrounded by a bunch of, really neurotic people, or do you want to be surrounded by a bunch of knuckleheads, or do you want some sort of mix in between? I mean, like, what's your vibe? Don't apologize for that. So I don't know. It's the premium that if my friend likes this place, or if a bunch of people apply to this place, I must be missing something. It must be really, really good. and my life will be magically happy and successful if I go there. But if I go to this place that isn't as well known or is a little bit off the beaten path, that it's going to be so much of what you make of college, and I think people lose sight of that. It's hard not to, I guess.
Well, I won't ask you to self-identify as which student you were. um,
I think you can guess.
yeah. What is one truth about admission?
I mean, like we all talk about it. And again, I'm not sure everyone always listens to it, but there's a place for everyone, and there's, don't follow the media too much on all this stuff. Don't listen to your classmates too much on all this. Don't listen to there's a lot of people nervous about the process, but if you talk to colleges and universities, we all know there's a lot of great places out there. And I mean, there's Union as number one, and then everybody else, but no, like we know people who don't end up at Union, their life's going to move on in a good way. And we hope they find themselves to other things. And so the truth is, like, in some ways, like, I don't know, I just watched the Philadelphia 76ers lose in the playoffs. So I'm not sure you should, but trust the process. Like there's a process here. It's like, and trust yourself and your own instincts in this, because there is a place for everybody. Now, I'm not a believer in you should not borrow for college at all. I mean, if you can make your way and do that, great, good for you. But it's an investment, and and there's something to be said about investing in yourself in the process. And so, again, I wouldn't make it binary, like 0-1. A slightly more expensive option versus one that's slightly less might be a better place for you. Now, but you want to be realistic, and you want to be realistic from the shoot about what you and your family are willing and interested to put towards college. Like, and don't hide that conversation, and don't save that conversation till April or May of your senior year. I mean, it's really about going in eyes wide open. If you need financial assistance, then seek colleges that are going to be generous with that financial assistance, whether it's on the need-based side or the merit-based side, or I mean, like that should be an important factor in the process for sure. And don't be apologetic about that. Like, we get it as colleges. It's a huge investment, and figure out. Don't put yourself in a place where you're like, well, I'm not going to fully take advantage of that investment. Put yourself in a place where you are going to feel, a part of it.
Yeah, and have some skin in the game as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Last question. What is the best question a student should ask when they're on campus, and what is your answer?
Well, that's a great question. I should know that off the top of my head, right? The best question a student can answer. I mean, so there's not one answer, but it's, a bunch of adolescents going around. I just went around with my daughter last year, who's actually finished a great first year at Union, and my son, who's a junior in high school. So I'm watching this both personally and professionally. When you go visit a college campus, there are going to be things that you like about it and things that you don't like about it. At every place, there's not like there's going to be places that have like pros and cons. Before you get back in the car and cross a school off the list, or say, oh my God, I'm going ED because I fell in love with it, think to yourself, like, what did I like most? Or what gave me the most pause about this place? And then, dare I say, ask for some follow-up information about that. Like, I got a really good vibe from my tour guide on X. Can you give me a little bit more detail around that? Because it might have just been the one kid on campus who was really involved in X. Or you can get some, corroborating information about that activity or interest. But don't just do it on the positive side, because what happens for a lot of students, I worry sometimes the college process is more of an elimination game than a choosing game. So you get back in the car, well, I didn't like that, so let's cross that off the list. Again, was that because of the tour guide? Like, you're often listening to like one admission officer, one tour guide, and you're passing 30 people as you walk across campus. Or God, if it's during a pandemic, you're passing 3 people as you walk across campus. And then you get back in the car and you're like, no, Union was too sciencey, or Union was too whatever your view is. And so say, hey, while I'm on campus, this gave me a little pause. I want to know more about this. And again, don't be apologetic for what's giving you pause. Explore it. Now, understand, admission folks are going to try to spin everything positive. Like expect that you're going to get, but that it's good to explore that stuff. Again, on both sides of it.
That's great. Well, that's the wisdom. Thank you. Now it's time for the gear.
So exciting.
Yeah, we are going to reach into our swag bag and see what you sent us. Oh man, look at those.
Oh, baby, I'm wearing them.
Some Union socks. And what is on our socks?
So that is the Knott Memorial. That is our iconic building on campus. That it's all things Knotts.
Well, Matt, thanks for the wisdom and for the gear. And we will see you next time on Swag from the College Guidance Network.
Great. Good to see you.